Well, welcome everybody. Terrific to have everybody back. And what we're going to be looking at today is the blessings themselves. Okay? We've been talking about who, how, why, what, but now we're actually coming to the actual moment when Yitzhak gives the blessings. Alright? And what were these blessings really about? Okay, and from now onwards, all the other groups that we're going to be having, all the other shiurim, are actually going to be from this same article, which is one article which finishes the whole of the Parsha Toledot. It's a very big article, because the subject of the blessings is actually a very big subject. Okay, we had to understand all the different people, their natures, who they were, what their vessels were, what their purposes were, in order to understand this article. And this is the one we're going to be looking at now. Okay? So, we actually did a little bit of it last time, okay? But we're going to start again from the beginning of the article. And it's on page 60, summer, okay? And the Aramaic at the top is Kuf Lamed Tet, and the piece that we'll be beginning with is Kuf Lamed Tet. You can see the beginning of the article, Ma'amar HaBrachot, and it's on the first column, on the right hand side. Alright? Great. Super. Now, as always, I forgot my prayer for the Ari at home. So I'll just make one up. Dear God, as we learn the Pnimiyut of Torah, please not let any sin or iniquity on my part or any of our parts separate us from you, and let the holy words of this Torah penetrate us and join us with you. And we give our thanks to all our great sages who brought this Torah to us, and through their grace we live. And enlighten our eyes, and may our Torah learning give help to the Shekhinah and to all Am Yisrael. Amen. Okay. Tachazi. B'shata da'ama Yitzhak le'esav v'tzei hasadeh v'tzuda li'tzayda b'hei וכמוה ונפק עשיו בגין דברך מיצחק וקמה עליהם ואברכך לפני השם דילו אמר ואברכך ולא יצא יאות כיוון דאמר לפני השם והיא שעתה הזדרזה כרסה יקרא דקודש בריך הוא אמרה ומה דיפוק חביה מאינון לבטן וישתער יעקב בהו Come and see. בשעה שאמר יצחק לעשיו וצא השדה וצודה לצידה בהי כי היה צריך לומר ציד ולא הי ובירוה. Come and see, when Yitzhak said to Esau, go out into the field and hunt for me, hunting with a hay, and he should have said hunting without a hay. Now, what's the Zohar talking about? We go to our Bereshit Kaf Zayin, okay? Where are we? Okay. And it's verse 3. Alright, so it's 27, chapter 27 Bereshit, verse 3. Okay? Now, what does it say? Isaac speaking to Esau, and he says, now, get your vessels, your bow, your arrow, and go out to the field. V'tzudali Sayid, and it's got hay. If you look at the actual text, the Ketiv is with a hay on the end, and the Kuri is without the hay. All right. So there's a difference in the tradition. All right, the tradition is the written Torah is with a hey on the end, and the spoken, what we say in the shul, when they read it, is tzayid without the hey. So what's going on here? So the Zohar picks up on this. Okay, the Zohar is interpreting also the Kettiv, what's actually written here. All right, so it's always important to. I'm sorry, I forgot my chumash at home, but always important that when you learn Zohar, always have your chumash handy. Okay, very, very crucial. So, totally, and the Zohar picked it up and says, "What is this tzaidah with a hey?" Okay. And he said it should have told him tzayid without a hey. And the Zohar explains it, okay? V'yetzei Esav latzud tzayid k'dei shitbarech miYitzhak. And Esav went out to hunt this hunting in order that he should be blessed with Yitzhak. Now, we talked last time about what this hunting was all about. Do you remember? It's about attracting to himself the level of chaya, which is a very, very high level of light. Okay, if you remember, there's nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaya, and Yehidah. So the level of chaya is a very, very big light, which normally ordinary people are not allowed to draw to ourselves. Okay, it's too big. All right, and there's if we do get shvirat kelim all over again. So chaya is actually attracting to himself these very, very, very big lights. Okay. However, this is what the Gmar Hatikkun is actually. This is what the blessings are about, okay? And in order that Yitzhak will give him these blessings, so I will bless you before the Lord. Now, if the Zohar says, if he had said, if Isaac had said, and I will bless you, and no more, that would have been okay. But he said, I will bless you before God. So these words, Lifnei Hashem, are also very important. Every word of the Torah is such importance. We read it and we don't notice how crucial every word is, even every letter here. Okay? So these words, Lifnei Hashem, is like, oh my gosh, something extra is happening here. B'ota sha'ah, at that moment, the holy throne of God shook. All right, Vama. I said, Maseh, what's this? And he said, oh my God, this snake is coming out from these curses, and Yaakov will be left with them. All right.
Who said that?
The Kisei Kavod, okay? The Holy Shechina.
The curses, he means the blessings that Esau would get is curses.
Yes, absolutely. In order to understand these words of the Zohar, we have to understand the content of this whole article. Alright, the whole thing. And I will explain it in brief. Okay, because we've done it, all the lessons we've done up till now has given us the background to be able to understand the summary he's going to give. And we need to understand what are these garments that Esau got from Nimrod, and what is the meaning that both Nimrod and Esau were hunting this life force with these garments, okay, as we've already learnt in the previous bit. And why didn't he take the garments with him on that day? Why did he leave them with Rivka? And what's the issue of the Tzeidah, okay, which we're talking about with Nimrod and Esau? On which Yitzhak is making this as a condition for him giving the blessings. And what is the issue of the blessings? Which Yaakov and Esau were so concerned about. והנה, סוד הלבושים כבר נתבהר היטב בספרי בית שער לכוונות. Now the inner meaning of the garments we've already looked at, okay, and Rabbi Ashlag brings it in another book. שבצמצום בית, שאחר שעלתה היתתה על הבינה, וגיבלה הבינה את הצמצום לתוכה, אז נפרדו זעיר אנפין ונוקבה מן כל פרצוף ופרצוף, נעשה מהם שני כלים מקיפים המופונים לבוש והיכל, שהוא סוד מקיף חיה ומקיף יחידה עיין שם היטב. Now this is a piece of technical Kabbalah, alright, which is what he brings in the Beit Shar Kavanot. I'm going to explain it very, very simply in my own language, alright? The world was first created through Tzimtzum Aleph, which means was only created through Din, to start off with, okay? And then there's this Midrash which said that God saw that the world could not survive like this, and then he joined compassion with Din. It's not that he did it one way and then he regretted and did it another way, or he changed his mind. It's actually a natural consequence, but that we learn in the work of the Ori. Alright. And nevertheless, the order is first the world comes out through Din, and then comes in compassion. Alright? And we see this, for example, on Rosh Hashanah. On Rosh Hashanah, we have to be very, very careful not to say angry words, not to be makpid, not to be kapdanim, at least until we blow the shofar. Okay? Why? Because it's called Yom Hadin. It's the beginning. The first energy that comes into the world is the world of Din. And what is the shofar? It's the sound of compassion. When we blow the shofar, we're bringing compassion into the world. We're joining the din with the rachamim. It's the sound of rachamim. Okay, it's the sound of the sfira bina. And we have this again. For example, when a baby boy is born, he needs a brit on the 8th day. Why does he need a brit on the 8th day? Because on the 8th day, that's when he joins with bina, which is the 8th sfira from Malchut, which is compassion. Okay, so the brit for the boy is the joining of din with compassion. Okay, so we see this joining, first din, then judgment, and then compassion. All right. So however, when we've done all our tikkun, the world already rectified with compassion rejoins the way it was at the beginning. Okay, and we all join back again to the Ein Sof, and that's the. So, all right. So what we have here, that in Tzimtzum Bet, that's the time of compassion. The Malchut joins up with Bina. Okay, Bina is the sphere of compassion, and the first thing that happens is that Bina can no longer use all the lights. We can no longer use all the lights. The time when the din was happening, the lights were very, very big. All right? It's like more black and white. All right, so huge din and huge light. Okay, now we can't use so much light, but what we can use, we bring through with compassion. All right? So the lights are less. We can't use these great lights of Yehidah, of Chaya and Yehidah. We can use Nefesh, Ruach, and Neshama. All right, that's it. Okay, so the extra lights, these extra lights which belong to the world of Din, are called Levush and Heichal, belong to Levush and Heichal, which are Chaya and Yehidah. Okay, and they're called surrounding light. Now, surrounding light means these are lights we'll get in the future, not in the present. Okay, they're waiting, they're surrounding. Okay, what we can receive in the present is called inner light. What we can't receive in the present is called surrounding light. Doesn't mean they've gone anywhere. They're just there, waiting, surrounding. Okay. הרי שאותו זעיר אנפין הנפרד מכל מדרגה אחר צמצום השני הוא שנעשה מבחינת לבושים הממשיכים הערת אור החיה. Okay, so they're bringing, these levushim are bringing the or chaya. Okay, and I'm not going to go into the technicalities of the Zohar here. ועליהם רומז הזוהר ומכנה אותם לבושי מלכות, כלומר נמשכים מעצם המלכות, מטרם שנמתקה בבינה. So the levushim that we're talking about the kelim, for receiving huge lights before the joining of compassion with judgment. Okay, it's much bigger lights than are available to us in our lives. Okay, these belong to the Eses Sfirot of Tzimtzum Aleph, the time of judgment only. Okay, Shuzer Ampin Shayab Madrigami Kodem Tzimtzum Bet. Right. So now we're going to look at the inner meaning of the hunting. What is this hunting? In its inner meaning, not about somebody going hunting into the field, but what is this inner meaning? What does it mean, After all, Yitzhak didn't really need, stew or something in order to give a blessing. All right? Ukvayadata shedomeim tzomea chai umadabeh hagashmiyim nimshechim midomeim tzomea chai umadabeh haruchaniyim shebaolamot ha'elyonim. Now we've already learnt that the inanimate, the plant, the animal, and the speaking, the physical on the physical level, all come from the inanimate, the plant, the animal, and the speaking spiritual. Okay, what we experience physically in this world all comes from spiritual entities in the worlds above us. Okay, and these are 4 levels of vessels and lights, one above the other. Okay, now the mochin of Vav Ktavot, the mochin which belong to the lesser lights, which we are allowed to deal with, okay, are called plant, inanimate and plant, and these are the lights of nefesh and ruach. And when a person's really, getting there, he gets an neshama as well. All right. Mochin de gimel v'shonot nikrim chaya, but these big highlights are called chaya, animal. Okay, this is beyond us. And the chai include the behema, chaya, and off. Okay, these are the 3 categories of domestic beasts, wild beasts, and birds. All right? Shem shlosha bechinot shel mochin de gimel v'shonot. These are the 3 aspects of these very highlights. Okay? Shadam mamshich, which a person could draw to himself if he's in these very high levels. Hamishonot zo mizo. Okay? Which are different from each other. And this attraction of this light of the Baalei Chaim Ruchaniyim, of this spiritual light of Chaya, okay, is called Tzeidah with a Hey. Okay? Now, he says, V'yesh Tzeidah Kedusha, and there is Tzeidah de Sitra Achra. Okay, there is Tzeidah in holiness, and there's Tzeidah, unfortunately, the other type as well. The Sitra Achra is the framework of evil.
No, it's Tzeidah is Sitra Achra?
No, Tzeidah is hunting. Okay, you can, I forget that lovely lady with the berry, I don't know her name, who was asking the questions. She said you can take...
Lady Cohen?
Probably, yeah. She said you can take the same thing and use it rightly or use it wrongly. Okay? And she's 100% right. Okay? I'm sorry she's not here today. I think she would have enjoyed it. Because she asked so many questions and here they're all being answered. You can take the Tzeidah, this bringing these great lights for holiness, and you can use them rightly or you can use them wrongly. He's going to give an example in a minute. Okay? Now he's talking here about Nimrod. Okay, Tzeidah de Sitra Achra, what would this be? How Nimrod was using it. Gibor Tzad Lifnei Hashem. Okay, that's the description of Nimrod. He was a mighty hunter before God. Okay? Alright, now we're going to find out what this before bit means. And this is the inner meaning of what it says about these garments. Bahu Havad Sad Seder. With these he would go do this Seder. Now, in order to bring these very high lights, we've got to, in a way, let go of the compassion, bring the compassion back down, the Bina back down to its original place. Okay. Oh, sorry, the Malchut back down to its original place, no longer joined with Bina anymore. And then these big vessels go back to the Madriga. Shaz chozim osen chotem pet kelim la Madriga. V'nimshachim hagimel shanot dorot. And then these big lights come. Now, I'm not going to go into the technicalities of how it happens, because this is what these words are. Osen chotem pet nikvei naim, or ever, are all key words for how the Sfirot work. All right, and this is the work basically that the Ari did. I mean, when we look at the Ari, we what is it? Everybody talks about the holy Ari, but what did he really do? Okay, and nobody really knows because it's so complex. What he really did was he sat by the Nile and just studied the Zohar in the most deep possible way, and he saw the development of the processes, the underlying processes, which are from light and vessel and how they interact from the very beginning of the Ein Sof down to this world. And he describes them using the different Sfirot. Okay? And what did Rabbi Ashlag do? What was the greatness of Rabbi Ashlag? Was two aspects. First of all, he organized the work of the Ari into a sensible way. What had happened was the Ari himself never wrote anything down. He only taught for 2 years in Tsfat, and his great pupil was Rabbi Chaim Vital. He never wrote anything down. It was Rabbi Chaim Vital who wrote things. He wrote it down. And on his deathbed, the Ari said to the other students, none of you are allowed to occupy themselves in any way at all with this material again, because you don't understand it properly. Only Rabbi Chaim Vital is allowed to learn it with himself. He's not allowed to teach it. Okay? And because of this prohibition, Rabbi Chaim Vital was extremely careful in writing it down, that he wrote it in ways that if anybody found his notebooks, they wouldn't necessarily understand what he was saying. Okay, so there's a complex problem in the order in which the material was written, because he purposely hid it. But then also, he when he died, most of his writings were buried with him in Damascus. And over the next couple of generations, his son and other rabbis went to the Geniza in Damascus and unearthed the teachings and tried to rescue them. But a lot of it was missing. About 600 pages apparently were stolen from Rabbi Chaim Vital whilst he was still alive. So a lot of the stuff is missing. And the other problem was that at no one time did any of the people who did the organization of the Eitz Chaim and the other works of the Ari actually have a full set. Okay, so, and they didn't understand it properly because they never had a full set. All right. So if you go to basically it was very difficult. Only somebody with real Ruach HaKodesh, like the Baal Shem Tov or Rabbi Shneur Zalman of Ladi or any of these great tzaddikim, only they were able to actually understand the work of the Ari, but they weren't able to teach it out. And Rabbi Ashlag wrote an incredible letter to his father in which he describes this whole problem with the work of the Ari, in which he said, for reasons that we cannot understand, God gave him the gift of the soul of the Ari. And he was actually able to understand and sort out the work of the Ari. And this was his major work. So Rabbi Ashlag, he was able to reorganize and understand and teach the work of the Ari for the first time to ordinary people. And that was the first thing he did in his great work with Talmud Sfirot. And the other thing he did was in this second huge work, was he then applied the work of the Ari to the Zohar. And this is a work which, in fact, the Ari himself had started. There's a work called Ma'amorei Rashbi, in which the Ari himself teaches the parts of the Zohar to his pupils in a very similar way. But he only did a little bit because, like I say, he only lived for 2 years here in Tsfat, which was his main teaching, and only in accordance with the questions of his Talmidim. And his Talmidim was such incredible tzaddikim that that they only needed little bits, I suppose. I don't know, but anyhow. So Rav Ashlag took on his life's work was to actually apply the teachings of the Ari, which he understood so clearly, and bring them to in order to elucidate the Zohar. Okay, this is what the Perush haSulam really is. So we get all these complex terms in it, like Gimel Rishonot and Ozen Chotem Peh and Nikvei Naim, and we wonder what these are. Okay. And we wonder what these are. These are in fact terms that come from the work of the Ari, and Rav Ashlag is using them in order to explain the inner meanings of the Zohar. Okay? Right. So that's kind of important to understand why these languages coming from. So if we go back to where we were, so I'm on the very bottom paragraph here on page 60. With these garments, he's hunting. In order to bring these very highlights, the compassion, the Malchut has to let go of Bina, okay, and then the original vessels can come back into the Madriga, and we can get these very highlights. Now, how do these vessels come back? There are two ways. They can come back legitimately through Masim Tovim and Mitzvot that we do, okay, and then then the lights can come in, or they can come back illegitimately by somebody just attracting these lights in an illegitimate way. Now, we don't understand how this can be done because we think that, if it's illegitimate, God's just going to stop it happening. All right. And that might be the case also. But anyhow, apparently people, they did have the capacity to do that. Okay. So the Seidah, he says, was done through the Levushim. And I skipped a few lines, and it says, until you get to the bit which just says bold, okay, the Bohu Havad Sad Sida. This is how Nimrod would use these garments to do the hunting. Okay? Right. Let's move on to page 61. Okay? כבר ידעת שבעת שממשיך הגימול שונות הוא מחזיר תקף את הגימול שונות בגימול שונות לשורשם. Now you know that when you bring these very highlights, you should give them straight back. Okay? ותדע שהוא סוד שחיטת הבעל חי. And this is the inner meaning of shchita. Okay? When we do shchita, we don't just take. Alright? שאור החיים נסתלק ממנו. You've killed the animal and the light of its life force is left. And what does the person enjoy? He only enjoys the meat. Okay? The blood itself you pour onto the ground. Okay? Only the very big lights he gave straight back. He's only allowed to use smaller lights. Okay? What is available for the lower one. This is doing it holy. This is doing it in holiness. And we looked at this last week. It's in a or the week before. It's in a psalm. Okay, Tzeidah, this type of Tzeidah, which I will bless. All right. Which is not the case with the Sitra Achra. They eat the lot. The life force is what they want. Okay? They also want the life force, these very highlights. Okay, and on this, it's what Nimrod was doing. It's illegitimate. He was using, he was doing this in an illegitimate way. Lifnei Hainu or panim, the most inner light of all. The word lifnei means the most inner light of God. He was trying to draw the inner light of God. It's terrible. Okay? שרוצים לצוד להמשיך עליהם. שזה היה מעשה נמרוד ועשיו. And this is what Nimrod and Esav were doing. Okay?
They meant to do it?
What?
They meant to do it?
Yeah, they did it on purpose, yeah.
So they
What?
weren't so low.
I don't
No, they're
understand.
very spiritually high. Just
You mean
They had very big vessels.
They mean lower?
But what?
probably.
No, I mean that they meant so they weren't so known as souls.
No, they had huge potentials.
Mm.
Yes, absolutely quite correct. Rav Ashlag says that the biggest vessels come in first, okay, into the Madriga. That's why you have great people like Avram, Yitzhak and Yaakov come in first into the Madriga. And we are the lowest levels with the smallest vessels. Nevertheless, the way the lights in the vessels come in is not the way we would think. Okay? Now, that's a different topic.
What
but
did
that's
they want with this vessel?
the light of God. Huge. I mean, now we're going to find out, what did they want? Why did they want these blessings?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge.
To go with
Okay.
God or against God?
What?
To go with God or against God?
Well, they wanted to use, like, to have God in your pocket, you know? There's plenty, like, they want God, but they want,
magic, whatever you want.
yes,
to
yeah,
this
yeah.
and that.
They wanted to use the power of God for themselves, okay?
In
Unfortunately,
order
that
to
happens.
win battles and wars, if God is with you, like in Yeshua, the Jews are winning.
Okay, to use it to have God in your pocket, yeah. So now we're going to look at the inner meaning of the blessings. And you should know that this is the giving of the power and governance for the Gmar Hatikkun, for the end of the Tikkun. Which is the way the Malchut, the way that all of us will get to the end. In B'darko Shel Yaakov, all the way of Yaakov, Shusot Seder Dikdusha, which is the way of letting go, giving back, not taking what's not belonging to us, okay? Which is Seder of Kedusha, or B'darko Shel Esav, or the way of Chap, the way of taking, okay? The way of Esav. Shusot Seder de Sitra Achra, which is the way of the hunting of the Sitra Achra. And to make this the way for eternity. וצריך שתדע שהזיווג הגדול המביא את גמר התיקון הוא כולל בתוכו לכל הזיווגים והקומות שיצאו בזו אחר זו בכל משך 2,000 שנים. Okay, and the Gmar Hatikkun, okay, you need to know that this great light which will come at the Gmar Hatikkun includes within it all the lights which came out one after one throughout all the 6,000 years of the world's existence. Okay, and their value is equivalent to the value of the one of the great light of the Gmar Hatikkun. And this is like and it's like the one light which will come at the Gmar Hatikkun is like the sum of all the different individual times of every mitzvah and every bit of yisurim, every bit of suffering and every bit of cry and every bit of trying and every bit of everything that everybody ever did, okay? Throughout all human history, all sums up together, okay? Gam b'chinot hamayno nukvim, also from the mitzvahs and the overcoming of ourselves that we did, okay? העולים לזיווג הכללי הזה. הנה כלל של כל המעשים והייסורים, and all the suffering as well, all the tears we cried, שהיו בעולם בזה אחר זה בכל היחידים ובכל הדורות במשך 2,000 שנה, which were in the world one after other in all the individuals and in all the generations throughout all the world's history. Okay? כמו שכתוב זה לעין. This is in another piece of Zohar, how he goes into this beautiful, incredible detail of what the Gmar Hatikkun actually is. And this is what the blessing says. V'yitei lecha Elohim mital hashamayim. Okay. And the blessing is the essence of the Gmar Hatikkun. Question? There was something.
Blessing is top.
What?
Blessing is top.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
heaven.
All that oral learning is all about top.
Here we are. This is the blessings. Here we go.
Neshamayim from heaven.
It's going to come to you top. It's going to come to top.
And no, 1 second. Let's just flow along with Zohar. Zohar tells you exactly what all the words are. Okay. Wait a minute.
When you see the blessings, what are the Gmar Hatikkun?
Vayitei lecha what?
Blessing is
Yes, it's the essence of the Gmar Hatikkun. V'yitei lecha Elohim mital hashamayim u'shmanei haaretz v'rov dagan v'tirosh yavducha amim v'yishtachavu lecha le'umim havei gvil la'achecha v'yishtachavu lecha b'nei imecha orecha arur u'mevarecha baruch. These are the blessings of the Gmar Hatikkun. In the Sephardi tradition, at least, they say these on Motzi Shabbos as part of Havdalah, or just after Havdalah. I don't know what happens in the Ashkenazi tradition. I've forgotten. Okay. And God will give you from the dew of the heaven and from the fat places of the earth, and much of the corn and the grape juice. The people will serve you, and nations will bow down to you. You will be the Lord to your brother, and the children of your mother will bow down to you. Those who curse you will be cursed, and those who bless you will be blessed. Okay, now these are the simple words, literal words. And Zohar now is going to teach us what these words actually refer to. All right? So, Yiten lecha Elohim mital hashamayim. That is the level of the Zerampin. Okay, that's the Olam HaYetzirah. Umishmanei haaretz. That is the Malchut, the Shekhinah. That is from the fat places of the earth, refers to the Shekhinah. Because the Shamayim always refers to the one above us, okay, which is the Olam HaYetzirah. And the Aretz refers to wherever we're at, which is the Malchut, which is Aretz. Okay, so we're going to get from the Talashman, from the best aspect of heaven, and from the fat places of the earth, from the best of the Zerampin and the Nukva of the Malchut. She'birchu שיזכה לכל הקומות שזיווגי איזון בשתה אלפי שנה, דהיינו שיכללו לך בזיווג הכללי שתזכה אליו בגמר התיקון. This means he blessed him, they should merit to all these levels of light, okay, which came through from the meeting of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the Shekhinah throughout all 6,000 years. From the level of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the Shamayim, from the level of the Shekhinah is the Malchut. Okay, so the Tala Shamayim refers to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Shmanei Haaretz refers to the Shekhinah, and all these meetings of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the Shekhinah, which come throughout all 6,000 years, will be included for you. Okay, in this one general zivug, in this whole zivug, and the whole level of light, which you will merit at the Gmar Hatikkun. Okay, so the one who's receiving the blessing receives that. Okay.
That's a whopper blessing.
Huh?
That's a big blessing.
It's the blessing. V'rov dagan v'tirosh. Okay? Now, it says all the light, which is called bread and wine, is gathered together for you. Yavducha amim. All the different types of avodot, shasu kolomim, all the different types of works which all the peoples will do, you call ele bishvilcha. They're for you. Okay? Also the work that we do inside ourselves. Okay? All the amim is also within ourselves. All the wills to receive for ourselves alone. All the parts that we fight ourselves. All that will be given to you for the soul. That you receive them and with them you can complete, okay, this incredible level of light for the Gmar Hatikkun. That refers to all the Yisurim Sheba'olam, all the suffering in the world is given to you. Yikablu az turot tishtachaviyot elecha v'yichalalu lecha ba'amayim nukvin shel hazivuk haklali hazeh. All of the different forms are going to be given to you. of the mitzvot, everything that came through from the mitzvot, everything that came through from the Yisurim, everything that came from all the levels of light, from the connection of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the Shekhinah together, it all goes to you. All right? Hin avei gvir achecha, be Lord to your brother, shadach shelcha yishe'el nitzchiyut, that your way will be forever, v'adach shel achicha yeh lecha lemasayeh, and the way of your brother will only be to you for a help. Kamo eved hamasayeh la'adono, like a servant who helps his master. V'kol ma shekana eved kana rabo, and all that his servant bought, his master buys. Yishtachavu lecha b'nei amecha, and the children of your mother bow down to you. Hanu yisurim shechalelu b'hamayim nukfin shel achicha yikablu tzorot yishtachavuyot elecha. All the yisurim which are gathered by all the different nations who suffer so much, okay, will take the form of coming, of prostrations to you. Orecha arur, those who curse you will be cursed. Anybody who disagrees with your way will be cursed. And all those who bless you will be blessed. Okay. And Yitzhak had the idea to bless Esav with all this. Okay.
That would have destroyed the world.
And in this, you can understand the Zohar. Ichas v'shalom ba'uzin le'yiborach Esav, lo yishlot Yaakov le'olamin. And if, God forbid, at that time, Esav would have been blessed, Yaakov's way would never have ruled forever. Ki kol ha'ma'asim tovim shel Yaakov v'kol ha'yisurim shesaval lo hayu az ela leto'alato shel Esav. Because in that case, all the good deeds that children of Yaakov have done and all our suffering that he'd suffered would only have been to the benefit of Esav. That Esav would merit to the great light of the Gmar Hatikkun. In order that his way would remain forever, and this would be the way of the hunting of the Sitra Achra, God forbid. So we have to remind ourselves, what is the way of Esav? The way of Esav is to take illegitimately. What is the way of Yaakov? The way is to Yaakov is to let go and go with Yirah, to go with awe in God, to go with faith in God, to give back, to give. The way of Yaakov is the way of Chesed, the way of loving kindness. So the Gmar Hatikkun, which Yaakov merited with his blessings, goes through the way of kindness, the way of faith, the way of love, the way of acceptance, the way of giving back, not taking what's not legitimately ours. Okay? Quick questions. Yeah, let's stop for questions. You also have a question.
It just brings up to me, how could Yitzhak not understand this in his older son that he'd want to bless him?
Very good question. The Zohar asked the same question. Okay.
Say the question a bit louder.
She asked, why did Yitzhak even conceive the idea of giving the blessings to Esav? How come he never, how did he even entertain his mind? Okay. Excellent question. Zohar talks about that. Somebody over there asked the question, but I couldn't answer it. Okay.
So that if Esav had gotten this bracha, he would literally have destroyed the world.
Yes. We wouldn't be here now. This is absolutely true.
I mean, it's just astounding.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it just would have been the takeover by the power of evil.
Yes.
But what's curious, though, if the power of evil emanates from God,
I know, it's a huge question. How does he even allow this situation to occur? How does he even allow Nimrod and Esav to exist? It's a huge question. I have no answers to this. But then we have the same questions. We had,
except
the Yimach Shemam that, unfortunately we've known in our recent history.
But then there wouldn't have been the Yisurim that we're talking about that would bring all that light.
Exactly, I know. Exactly. So the way is either through consciousness, Torah, and the way of Yaakov, which is the way of Yoshev Ohalim, Torah, or the way of Yisurim, which is actually the dinim which Esav was drawing to himself. And we know that the way of Esav was dinim because when he goes out to the field and he murders Nimrod to grab the garments and he's using them wrongly, he comes back and says, I'm going to die. Okay, so there are two ways. There's the way of Yaakov, which is the way of Torah and consciousness and conscious giving to God. Or there's the way of Yisurim, which is the way which, if you went by the illegitimately, eventually you just bring upon ourselves and the world the way of dreadful suffering.
But it seems like that is the perfect example of Bechera Chofshit.
Yes, you're right, Yocheved. Are you absolutely right?
You know, it just is, there it is.
Yes,
You can choose.
to choose. Yes, it is. And God withdraws himself. He hides himself. The word olam means hidden. The word helem, olam, is ayin lamed mem. Why? Because God hides himself to allow us to choose.
But he didn't let all of it go into Esau's hands.
No. What actually happened, of course, is that Yitzhak gave the blessings to Yaakov, which was what the Shekhinah wanted to happen.
Right.
Okay, no. But nevertheless, why did it happen this way?
I guess we can dan chefzchut Yitzhak, and then he was blind, and Baruch Hashem, he was in partnership with his other half.
It's not kan dan zchut. You'll see, it was meant to be this way. Okay?
Okay.
Let's keep going.
Okay,
but all good questions. They're very good questions. And I'm glad you all, find it as exciting as I do. וזה שכתוב כאן בזוהר, בשעת עד אמר יצחק לעשיו, וצא השדה וצודה לצידה בה' כי ה' הוא סוד עצמות המלכות, דהיינו המלכות לצמצום א', שעליה אמר לו שיצוד אותה, תמשיך להגים הראשונות המכונה צידה כנ"ל. שזהו נעשה רק בגמר התיקון בסוד זיווג הכללי. And this is what the Zohar is pointing out. When Yitzhak said to Esav, go and hunt, go to the field. We know what the field means. The field is the field of consciousness. The Tudalit Seder and Behei, go and do this hunting, attract these big lights, prepare these vessels. Hey is the essence of the Malchut. The essence of the Malchut is the Leva Even. It's the heart of stone. The bit we can't do a tikkun on, only God can do this tikkun. But Yitzhak, we learned 2 weeks ago that Yitzhak actually did have this capacity. Yitzhak was such a high tzaddik. There's never been a tzaddik like Yitzhak. Yitzhak was such a high tzaddik. He had the capacity of bringing the Gmar tikkun. His name was Yitzhak because in the Gmar tikkun we'll all laugh. Okay, I can't wait. Okay, so he had the essence of the Gemara Tikkun. All right, so he was able. We know that the 2 he-goats that he was able to eat from the Se'ir Azazel. He was able to eat from the Se'ir Azazel. For God's sake, I mean, it's amazing. He was able to correct even that. All right, okay. So he said, prepare these vessels because these are the vessels of the Gemara Tikkun. Okay. I have to confess I don't understand this piece. All right? I've read it quite a few times and I'm as baffled as you guys. All right? On that day, Esav did not take these garments with him. Okay? Because it says here that he was using them for that these were only useful for the Gimel Shalot of Tzimtzum Bet. I don't understand, because I understand this whole thing as being Tzimtzum Aleph. I don't understand this piece, all right? But you know what? It's also nice to come to places in the Zohar I don't understand. This material is so great. It's so much greater than us. It's so much greater than, when I come to a piece I don't understand, I'm grateful. I say, thank you, God. I know that I don't understand. It reminds me of how small I am and how little I am. And, great rabbis like Rav Ashlag can understand this. I can't. All right. So I'm happy also to get to places like this. All right. So the Zeshe Katu, I'm going to skip to the next bold bit. Okay. Here. The next bit. Ve'elu amar devarecha v'lo yatir ud. Kevan damar lifnei Hashem v'kuleh. Because Yitzhak had said before God is dazer. Oh my God, the throne of God was shocked. Klivnei Hashem Yoel Gimur Shonot, which is the very high levels, which is called the Or Panim. Tzeidah de Sitra Achra, which is the Tzeidah we're not allowed to use, is the Tzeidah of Nimrod. Okay? Now, Yitzhak must have thought that Esav was capable of doing this, that he was going out to the Sadeh and he had these vessels and he was able to use them b'kedusha. All right, but he wasn't. Okay? Shekatuv alav gibor tzai lifnei Hashem. Okay. Ulefichach nizdazeh kiseh kavod. All right. And therefore, the throne of glory was shocked, shaking, and said, "Ma'adi fok havaya ma'inon laftim dishay Yaakov bahu." For this tzeidah, so is the inner meaning of that. It's the snake. It's the snake. We're back to the issue of the Gan Eden and the snake again. All right? This is when the downfall of Adam happened. Okay? The enticement of the snake, which enticed Chava for the Eitz Hadat, which brought the Klalot La'olam. Okay? It's the same thing again. All right? V'lo od, ela shishe'er gam Yaakov b'hem. Yaakov will be left with these curses, which the snake brought upon the world. Kebrachot kovim darko shel Esav lenitzchiyot. Because if these blessings were given to Esav, they would fix the way of the snake forever. V'Yaakov yeh kafuf lo ke'eved lifnei rabo. And Yaakov would be, God forbid, be subjected to Esav like a servant before his master. Uklalutav shel Esav dirbatzna alav. And the curses of Esav would squash him, trample on him. V'lo tieh lo shum eitzah. There'll be no way out. B'zeh tavin shuvat Yitzhak le'Esav. Hein gevir samtiv lach. And now you understand the answer to Isaac, to Yitzhak, to Esav. When Yitzhak comes in after his hunting, he says, "Oh my gosh, haven't you got a blessing for me?" And he says, "No, I've placed your brother as a lord over you." Okay, the blessings were fixed. That's it. For after he has fixed Yaakov way as the way. Ein lo od shum bracha ba'ad Esav. He doesn't have a bracha, not in that level, for Esav. Ve'ein litmor, and here's your question. All right?
Yeah.
Ve'ein litmor, ech ratzah Yitzhak levarech et Esav. And don't be surprised. I mean, don't wonder, how was it that Yitzhak wanted to bless Esav? Ulikbar derech tzeidah de sitra achol lenitzchiyut chas v'shalom. And to fix the way of the hunting of the Sitra Achra forever, God forbid. For this question, the Zohar already asked previously, and actually we did look at it then. What? And how is it that Yitzhak didn't know the bad things that Esav was doing? And the Zohar explains there. שהשכינה רצתה להתברך יעקב בלא דעתי but the Shekhinah wanted Yaakov to be blessed without the knowledge of Yitzhak. Now, why was this important? Yitzhak was Yoshev Ohalim. He had the vessels of giving. He was like Abraham. He had only the vessels of giving.
Yeah.
What did I say? Yaakov. Thank you so much. Yaakov was Yoshev Ohalim. Yaakov was the one who sat in the tents. He was only to get the vessels. He had the vessels of giving, he had the vessels of Avraham. Okay? But they're not all the vessels. They're also these big vessels of receiving. Remember, Avraham was Chesed, Yitzhak was Gevurah. Those Gevurah vessels also have to come into Kedusha. Yaakov got the Chesed vessels. Esav got the Gevurah vessels, but he didn't use them right. He used them only to receive, not to give. Okay, he wasn't using them right. So if Yitzhak had known about the bad deeds of Esav, he'd said, "Okay, Yaakov, come here, I'll give you the blessings." Right? Everything out in the open. Yaakov doesn't need to deceive anybody, and Yaakov gets the blessings. Everything's in Kedusha. But then all those vessels of receiving, and those are actually the bigger vessels, are left outside. What about them? And God, that's not God's will. God wants everything into Kedusha. He wants also the difficult bits in Kedusha. He wants also these big vessels of receiving. He wants all his creation in Kedusha. We can't just have half. We can't just have Abel in Kedusha, not Cain. We've got to bring the lot in, okay? We've got to have everything included. So, if Yitzhak had known the evil deeds of Esav, there's no way he would have blessed him. So Yitzhak couldn't know. All right, because he couldn't know. He thought he's the right guy to have the blessings. Why? Because he recognized that Esav actually had the capacity. He did have the capacity. He was using it wrong. Okay. Yaakov's got the right direction, but he doesn't have the capacity. So what do we have to do? You have to bring Yaakov and Esav together, but Yaakov has to be the dominant one. Okay? Hakol kol Yaakov. The kol is higher than the Yadayim. Okay? Yadayim Yadai Esav. Okay? They have to be together. Okay? And Yaakov has to be the one, because Yaakov knows when to say no. Yaakov knows when to give up. Yaakov knows when to go to Yir'ah. Yaakov knows when to go to giving. I mean, look at Yaakov Avinu. He's lying there and he gets this vision of God standing on the top of a ladder. All right? And he's standing on top of this ladder. And God says to him, "Don't worry, Yaakov. I will go with you. I will bring you back. I will give you this. I will give you that. I will look after you. Don't panic. All right? I will be there with you." And what do we find in the morning? Yaakov gets up and he says, "My God, God was in this place and I didn't know it." And he takes a stone and he anoints it as an offering. And then he says, "Vayera Yaakov." And Yaakov was afraid. What was he afraid of? He just had the best blessing that anybody could possibly have. Guarantee. I'll go with you. I'll bring you back. Guarantee. Why did he have to be afraid? Because you don't take nothing for granted. Because you don't take. The moment God gives to you, they give back. They give back with you. They give back with faith. Moses, he sees the burning bush. He's drawn to the burning bush. And he hears God's voice calling to him. And it's the first time that anybody had heard God's voice since Yaakov Avinu. Think about it. Yosef got dreams. Nobody else got anything. They'd been through all these slavery and nobody heard the voice of God. And suddenly Moshe Rabbeinu hears the voice of God coming from the burning bush. He doesn't say, terrific at last. He says, Beit. Straight away gives back. Same thing with the shechita. You don't say, okay, now we can take the life force of the animal. You say, give back. Give back the life force. Only take what's permitted. Okay? That's the way of Yaakov. All right? And that's the way it had to dominate. I think it's amazing teaching. It's an amazing teaching to understand for ourselves also what inside ourselves. And this is really the most important part, I think, for me personally, is to find the Esav within me, the bit that wants to receive chap, and the Yaakov within me, the bit which is willing to say, thank you, God, and I'll just take what you want to give me and give back. And I find, to find the teaching of Yaakov, to find the Yaakov and Esav within me, it's all hologramic. What's out there is also in me. So, it's the way Rabbi Ashlag teaches us to learn the work of Torah, is to say that everything that goes on outside is also within ourselves. So to actually come to understand, where those places in me which actually want to cross borders and want to take illegitimately, and to find those places and to say, okay, that's Esav in me. No, thank you. And to find and to allow the Yaakov to dominate. And I think this is, for me, this is like one of the biggest teachings.
Can you give an example?
I just did.
No, we're talking about them. They're big people, but for us, in our lives.
Well, there's shechita, for example. I think to be honest, what I would suggest to you right now is just play with the idea and simply say, there's a part in me which is called the will to receive for myself alone, which is the Yetzer Hara, which is the Esav in me, and which just wants to take illegitimately. And there's a place in me, which is the Yaakov in me, which is the soul, which is Yisrael. Okay, Yaakov is called Yisrael, which is called the soul. All right, and it actually manifests in different ways in different people at different times. I mean, to let go of, when the conflict happens, and it happens all the time, the conflict between the Yetzer Tov and the Yetzer Hara, to understand that the pull of the Yetzer Hara can be very strong. I mean, the Esav wanted to get, power, the life force, illegitimately. In our ways, in our little ways, we also want to get stuff. Everybody's different. So however your Yetzer Hara manifests, it manifests.
Well, that's it.
And then of Esav within us, they manifest like that anyhow. And we can have ta'ava for the light of God just as much as anything else. It's huge. It's really huge. Yeah, Teva.
I just want
Sorry,
to
sweet.
understand this whole idea. You said bringing it into kedusha. But Hashem is everything. He created this whole situation. He did all of this, so He is kadosh.
Yeah.
But you can't go out of Hashem. Everything is. It's all everything is kadosh. Even this whole situation that happened.
Yeah.
What happened? But you were saying that they have to come together and go into kedusha. So I assume that kedusha means that Hashem did create the darkness, and
Yes.
we have to keep on pulling out of this darkness.
Yes.
And that's what this whole thing is about Yaakov and Esav coming out of a dark place where they have separation to where they come to the light, which is Yechud, is Achdus.
Yes.
And that sounds like what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I that's very lovely what you said. If we look on our original chart.
Just rephrasing it.
Huh?
Just rephrasing it. You said it.
It doesn't matter. If we look on our chart, I mean, we have the Ein Sof Baruch Hu, which is the purpose of creation, which is the connection of the light and the vessels, how God brought, the very, very beginning of creation. But then, it's as creation unfolds, we get two frameworks: the framework of holiness and the framework of evil. And Rabbi Ashlag brings in this introduction the Panim Yerot and Masbirot, which maybe one time I'd love to teach it in this forum if people would be interested, and if Judy if it works out. It's a wonderful introduction in which he talks about the purpose of the human being, why the human being was created the way he was created. Because we're created, we're the only beings in the whole of creation which actually have both frameworks in us. Everything else is either holy or profane. Everything. The angels are either holy, work for the holiness, or they work for the profane. Everything. You either have a kosher animal or you have a treifa animal. You can't have something half and half. The only creatures in the whole universe which can be half and half are us. Okay? Only the human being is this complex, peculiar combination of the framework of holiness and the framework of evil in one. And our purpose is to take aspects of, like what you asked about, how do we bring it in our own lives, is to take aspects of our evil, of our Esav within us, and move them to the framework of holiness, and move them to Kedusha, and bring them under the domination of Yaakov. So instead of my Esav, mishtolel, behaving like a naughty kid, which it does most of the time, I bring it under the domination of Yaakov, of the soul, which I think is just an incredible idea.
What did you mean when you said the lights, the receiving lights were left outside when you were giving the blessings?
Which lights were outside, lovely?
And you said the receiving lights, like if he had given the brachas to Esau,
Yes.
the lights of
Yeah, that's
receiving-
right.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, okay. Because if you have the lights of giving, okay, Yaakov has only got the vessels of giving, Esau has only got the vessels of receiving. Okay, these are big vessels. They belong to creation also. All right, how we receive God's light, not just how do we give. God's purpose in creation is not that we should be giving to Him. That's called the Tikkun of creation. Okay, but the ultimate purpose is that we should enjoy what he wants to give us. That's his ultimate purpose. God's purpose of creation is to give pleasure to the created being. Therefore, he created in the created beings a will to receive all his goodness. Those vessels exist. They are important. They are part of creation. They are the creation, in fact. All right? The tikkun of creation is the fact that we take those vessels of receiving and say, if I just receive, I'm going to be separated from God. Because if I receive while God is giving, he's giving and I'm receiving, that gives us a separation. But maybe there's a way that I can actually take these vessels of receiving and use them for giving. All right? That's something new. Take a vessel for receiving and use it for giving? How can that be? Well, it could be.
No, because what that is a constant state of putting boundaries on things. Every single thing has to be bound. Like you can't just give. You have to give with what you were saying before, learning Torah or suffering. Either through learning Torah or suffering, you will create the boundaries so that you know how to give back.
Yes.
If you don't have those vessels, those ways, then you don't know what to do with this thing you're giving. You don't know how to give it back.
That's
So
true.
he's giving you this present, whatever it is, food. How are you going to give it back to him? You're going to make a bracha. But you ate the wrong food because you ate treif. No, because you learn the Torah, and then it tells you. It's all, and from a child, you see this from children all the time. Children are everywhere. You have to keep constantly giving them these boundaries so that they can bring goodness. Because children are all wanting to give good, but they don't know where to put their energy. And
It's
we're
true.
constantly giving them this boundaries, to teach them how to be, but with love. With the love, because Hashem is loving. He is loving us with His gifts. So we're giving them this love so that we are like Hashem to them. What do children know about Hashem? They learn through us. So we're giving them this love so they can have the vessels to receive the boundaries. Hashem loves me. Now, what do you want me to do with it? What do you want me to do with this? And what do you want me to do with that? I know you love me. If you don't know Hashem loves you, then you have no call for the boundaries. You see people that are in love. They have trouble with the relationship with God. And they can't put the boundaries on. But if you know that Hashem loves you, Ein Sof, then you can take the boundaries. Take these boundaries, whatever it is, from moment to moment. Give tzedakah, it's all done. It's all like constant. You never. And that's why children are the best teachers, because you have to do it for them. For them, you have to keep on doing this. Constant.
That's right,
You're saying it's Ein Sof, it's constantness.
It's constant work, yeah. So let me just finish what you asked about. How do you take a vessel of receiving and use it for giving? It's a very high question, actually. There's mitzvahs that we do which are clearly giving for the sake of giving. Like, for example, a mitzvah of giving tzedakah to somebody. All right, you're giving. That's a giving action. And I can use it because, in a way, that I'm giving because I really want that person to feel better. All right, to have their falafel or to have whatever they need. Whereas if I doing it just to make myself feel better, that's not really ultimately giving. I'm actually doing something to make myself feel better. But if I'm giving for the sake of giving, then I'm really giving because I want them to feel better. Okay, so we can understand how the intention of why I'm doing something becomes very important. Now, if I'm receiving because I want to receive, that's being very separated from God because He wants to give. But if I come to a place where I'm giving and all I want to do is give to the other one, and I want to give to God, and I want to give to God, and I want to give to God, and I come to the point where I say, well, what can I give to God? He has everything. And this is an incredible point where the tzaddik, who's only in the place of giving unconditionally, begins to understand that there's one thing he can give to God, and that is to allow God to give to him. And then he's receiving, not because he wants to take, but because he knows that this is God's will that he should receive. And this is the way that Yaakov received the blessings. Not because he wanted to do it this way. We learnt last week about this heartbreaking psalm that he said, "B'tzaratali karati v'aneinu." When I was in so much distress, I called and you answered me. He was in distress having to do it this way, okay? But he was doing it because he knew that God wanted him to receive in this way and not leave the curses of the snake for humanity to cope with. Absolutely not. He knew that he had to do it this way. He had to receive from God these blessings because that was the will of God, not because he wanted, but because this was God's will. So that's the one way, which is receiving in Kedusha, which is receiving only for the sake of giving to God, because it's God's will that he should receive, and not our will that we should receive. Okay, that was a brilliant question. Thank you very much. Yeah. Wow. Baruch Hashem. Anybody else?
It's a very thin line here, because you can receive only to receive, but to receive in order to give. Well, I mean, that thin line. Like you say, you can't give anything to God. You can't give anything to God. It's like
Joy, yeah, you're right. The thing is actually it's a process, and we can't move from receiving for ourselves alone, which is actually the default consciousness of the world. Okay, Esau was not different from the rest of the world. Okay, and this we're going to learn when we get to Vayecharad Yitzhak. You know, when Esau comes in and Yitzhak, oh my God, when we find out about Esau, you know, he finds out about Esau for the first time. Okay. I mean, it's, you know, but this in fact is the default consciousness of the world. So we all start off with our wills to receive ourselves alone, which is called a Yetzer Hara, okay? And then how do we get to this great, very high level of Yaakov, of being able to receive from God only because God wants it that way? How do we get there? And the answer is step by step, okay? In fact, there are 4 levels. One before the other. So first there's receiving for ourselves alone. Then there's giving, but actually underneath my giving I really want to get something. Like there's plenty, you know, most of us do that. Okay, it's Torah Shelo Lishma.
Right.
Alright, we're doing Torah because we want to gain something. Because maybe we think we're going to get, you know, benefit in heaven, or maybe our children, or whatever. We all do it. We all have to start that way. There's no other way to begin except Torah Shelo Lishma. And then slowly, through the practice of Torah, we get to Torah Lishma. That is giving for the sake of giving. Alright? And then ultimately, the ultimate stage is receiving for the sake of giving, which exceptional tzaddikim are able to get to. Rabbi Ashlag, I'm certain, was one of them. You know, all our great tzaddikim. Rabbi, you know, Vladi, Rabbi Nachman, the Baal Shem Tov, I mean, all our great tzaddikim, and Rabbi Yud, and, you know, all, Moshe Rabbeinu, all these great people, you know, they were able to reach this, the receiving for the sake of giving. Mordechai Yehudi is a fantastic example of this, you know, when he didn't want to receive. He was, you know, Samech B'chelko. So God did this whole scenario of Purim to make sure that
so much, thank you.
Yeah, so that he was, you know, able to receive for the sake of giving. And you know, he wore the Levush Malchut. That wasn't because he wanted; it was because God said, "This is what you have to do now." So he did it.
Well, Esther too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You can mention Mordecai. Yeah.
No, both. You're right.
It's like someone who has to eat on Yom Kippur because they have to.
Sorry, what?
It's like somebody who has to eat on Yom Kippur, somebody who doesn't eat on Yom Kippur and doesn't want to eat on Yom Kippur, who has to eat on
That's
Yom Kippur
right.
because
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah, very good example. I never thought of that one, but you're absolutely right. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
But again, this very thin line to receive in order to give. It's like you say, I'm going to eat so that I'll have energy to give. Like all your intention is on giving. Giving, I don't know, giving what, but giving love to people, helping people, doing mitzvot.
Whatever God gives you the opportunity to.
Yeah, all that energy on like just being able to give and give like unconditionally. Isn't that what it is? Like
Yeah, that's right, Joy.
to receive
I think-
order to give.
You know what, even making a bracha can be hard work. It can be. It really can be. You know, when we're really working, the Yetzer Hara doesn't want us even to make a bracha. It really doesn't. you know, the phone will ring. You're just about to make the bracha. The phone rings. Okay. You want a bench. Okay. And whatever. There's all sorts of million ways with inside us and outside us that when we're really working on ourselves, even doing a simple act of giving, like making a bracha, can be jolly hard work. That's the way it is.
Even the bad things like kina, kas, and all that stuff.
Cool.
It's like it's a gewaltic thing if you mitgaber on it.
Can you say that again? I missed most of it.
This was from the Tzfat Shalom when he was talking about the Sayinot of Avram Avinu. He says even kas or kina or any of these things, right? Even that we should thank Hashem for, because when we B'ezrat Hashem overcome them, it's an incredible tikkun.
Totally. It's very interesting what you say. Rather, I've come across this recently in some of the teachings of Rabbi Ashlag about how the things that make up our sins are actually part of, a part of the good things in a way. He likens it to the black letters of the Sefer Torah, the places where there aren't any light. Okay, but if it weren't for the black letters, we wouldn't be able to read what the Sefer Torah is about. So it's through the tikkun of the black that we actually come to the light. Yeah, and that's very powerful indeed. He's got some incredible letters in which he writes these. They're very, very powerful indeed. Yeah, it's exactly that. Yeah, koach. Yeah. So I mean, this is why the human being is that, Yitzhak Kapav Kadosh Baruch Hu, his most precious being in creation, is because we're doing such a difficult work of taking the negative and the ta'ava or the kin'ah or the kavod and moving it into kedusha. All right. And that's what Yaakov Avinu did. I mean, when we think about what Yaakov Avinu did, what an amazing Hatzalah. Huh?
It was almost called Rivka.
Absolutely.
Rabbi is over here.
Yeah, Rabbi Kohen will always, if you ask Rabbi Kohen for a name for a girl, he'll always tell you to give the name Rivka. She saved the Jewish people.
She did. She did.
It's,
Yeah.
It's all about us ladies. We're the ones holding it up. We are. We're the ones building the Beit Hamidrash, the Beit Center home. And we have to keep things going.
I have to say that again, learning this piece of Yaakov and Esav and Yitzhak and Rivka has absolutely transformed for me how I saw Rivka, how I saw Yaakov. I was, stuck with the pshat, and none of the mefarshim for me really, really made it until I learnt it here, and then I began to see the great heights of Yitzhak and Rivka, particularly the tremendous level of tzaddikim that they really were, and the tremendous energies that they had to deal with. And it's just like, for me, it's just totally awe-inspiring, and also to understand how Yaakov Avinu is a role model for us.
It's exactly what you're saying, that to take against their will in order to give.
That's right, and it's just and I didn't know this, until I learnt it here, and I think this is the great zchut that we have of learning the Pnimiut Torah here in Tsfat. And thank you, Judy, mamash, with all my heart, for
you very much.
the merit that you give us. I mean, you brought the Beit Hamidrash together. You're giving us the opportunity of learning Pnimiut Torah in many different ways, and really, thank you.